The silent ascent. When a broken man stops begging for rescue, there comes a moment in some lives when the waiting becomes more painful than the wound. Not the waiting for a bus, not the waiting for money, not even the waiting for better days. The worst waiting is the kind no one sees. The kind where a man sits alone in the dark and waits for someone to notice he is drowning. He waits for a message, a call, a sign, a hand on his shoulder, a reason, anything. He tells himself he is being patient. He tells himself he is holding on. But beneath that lie, something uglier lives. He is begging for rescue, and the tragedy is not that no one comes. The tragedy is how long he keeps believing someone will. He had become quiet long before anyone noticed, not peaceful, not disciplined, just quiet in the way ruined buildings are quiet, empty, cold, still standing, but only barely. He moved through his days like a man carrying invisible chains. He woke up tired, he went to sleep tired, and in between, he kept performing the weak ritual of appearing normal. A few words here, a forced smile there, enough to keep people from asking questions he did not want to answer. But the truth was simple. He was losing respect for himself, not all at once. That would have been easier to understand. It happened slowly, in the promises he kept breaking, in the mornings he kept wasting, in the habits he kept feeding, in the excuses he kept polishing until they sounded intelligent. He said he was healing. He said he needed time. He said the world had been unfair. And maybe some of that was true. But pain can be real, and weakness can still grow inside it. That was the part he did not want to face. Some nights he would sit in the half-light of his room with his phone in his hand, screen glowing against his face like an interrogation lamp. He would scroll without seeing, search without reading, watch without remembering. He was not looking for entertainment, he was looking for interruption, something to cut through the pressure in his chest, something to stop him from hearing his own thoughts. But silence always returned, and in that silence, the same feeling waited for him. The feeling that his life had drifted into the hands of forces he no longer controlled. He blamed exhaustion. He blamed disappointment. He blamed the people who had left. He blamed the ones who had lied. He blamed the ones who had taken without giving back. And some of them deserved blame. But blame is a poor architect. It can explain the ruins. It cannot rebuild the man living inside them. He had not always been like this. There was a time when his eyes held direction, when his body moved with purpose, when he believed effort mattered, when discipline was not a word he admired from a distance, but something he practiced. That version of him now felt like a memory from another life, not dead, just buried under layers of hesitation, distraction, and quiet surrender. He still remembered the sound of ambition in his own mind. He remembered what it felt like to stand up straight, to make a decision and keep it, to trust himself. Now, even small decisions felt heavy. Get up, stay down, answer the message, ignore it, start today, start tomorrow. His life had become a graveyard of delayed beginnings, and the deeper he fell, the more he looked outward. Maybe someone would inspire him. Maybe someone would understand. Maybe someone would arrive with the right words and pull him out of himself. That is how dependence disguises itself in broken men. Not always as weakness you can see. Sometimes it wears the face of hope. He was not hoping for help anymore. He was outsourcing responsibility. That is how a man becomes helpless without ever saying the word. He kept waiting for the perfect moment, for the right mood, for enough pain to finally force change. for enough comfort to make action possible. He did not understand that both pain and comfort had already done their work. Pain had shown him what staying the same would cost. Comfort had shown him why he kept staying the same anyway. Days passed, then weeks, and each day ended with the same quiet shame. Tomorrow, he told himself, tomorrow I will begin. But tomorrow is a place where weak intentions go to die. And every time tomorrow came, it looked exactly like today. One evening, the air in his room felt heavier than usual. No music, no noise from outside, only the low electric hum of forgotten things and the weight of a life being avoided. He sat at the edge of his bed and stared at the floor. There was no drama in that moment. No breakdown, no shattered glass, no cinematic collapse. Just a man too tired to lie to himself for another hour. That was the first honest moment he had in a long time. He asked himself a question he had spent months avoiding. What exactly am I waiting for? Not in the poetic sense, not in the hopeful sense, in the brutal sense. What am I actually waiting for? He searched for an answer and found nothing solid. No clear event, no real plan, only fog. He was waiting for life to become clear before he acted, waiting for confidence before effort, waiting for certainty before commitment, waiting for rescue before responsibility. And somewhere inside him, something cold finally spoke. No one is coming. Not because the world is cruel, not because he was forgotten, not because he was unworthy. No one was coming because this was never their job. That truth did not feel empowering at first. It felt offensive. A part of him resisted it immediately. What about understanding? What about compassion? What about support? But the deeper truth remained untouched. Support can help a man walk. It cannot decide to stand up for him. That decision belongs to him alone. He leaned back and closed his eyes, and for the first time in months, the pain inside him stopped feeling confusing. It became specific. He was in pain because he had abandoned himself, because he kept asking life for permission to become stronger, because he wanted transformation without surrender, because he wanted the reward of discipline without the insult of starting small. That was the wound beneath all the others. He did not hate himself because he had suffered. He hated himself because he had watched himself decay and kept calling it patience. That realization did not break him. It stripped him of the final excuse that his life was waiting on someone else. There is a dangerous peace that enters a man when illusion finally dies. Not joy, not relief, something quieter, the peace of seeing the battlefield clearly. He stood up and walked to the mirror. The face staring back at him was not monstrous, not pathetic, just tired, but beneath the tiredness was something harder to look at. A man who had been negotiating with his own potential for too long. He studied the details, the eyes that used to burn, the posture that had collapsed inward, the expression of someone always enduring, never directing, and he understood something that pride had kept hidden from him. He had been waiting for someone to believe in him again because he no longer believed in himself. That was the lowest point. Not sadness, not exhaustion, not loneliness. The loss of internal authority. When a man stops trusting his own word, everything in his life begins to rot. His habits weaken, his standards fade, his future blurs. Because a one voice meant to lead him has become unreliable, and once he saw that, he could not unsee it. The room was the same. The night was the same. The world outside had not changed, but something fundamental had shifted. He no longer wanted to be comforted. He wanted to be accountable. That is the first hard step upward, though most people never recognize it. They think change begins with motivation. It does not. Change begins when excuses stop sounding intelligent. He looked around the room. Clothes left where they fell, objects without order, evidence of a life being managed by mood. For months he had told himself these things did not matter, that they were surface details, that real pain was deeper than a room, a routine, a missed morning. But disorder is never just disorder. It is philosophy made visible. A broken routine is a broken relationship with self-command. He picked one thing up, then another. No speech, no dramatic music, no promise that this was the night everything changed. Just movement. Small, uneventful, almost insulting in its simplicity, but real. That is what made it different from all his fantasies. Fantasy loves magnitude. Reality begins with the next action. He folded what needed folding, threw away what needed throwing away, opened the window and let the cold air enter. The room did not become beautiful. It became honest. And honesty has a strange effect on men who have lived too long in mental fog. It sharpens edges. It forces definition. He sat down again, but this time differently, back straighter, breathing slower. His problems had not vanished. His mind had not become clean. He was not suddenly healed, but something had returned. Command, small, fragile, but present. He understood then that he did not need to fix his whole life that night. He needed to stop betraying it. That was enough for the beginning. He took a piece of paper and wrote down 3 things. Wake up early. No disappearing into noise. Move, no matter how heavy it feels. There was nothing magical in those words. That was the point. Weak men often wait for a grand philosophy because simple instructions leave nowhere to hide. Wake up early, face the day, stop numbing yourself, move your body, keep your word. It was too basic to impress anyone, too practical to post online, too quiet to look like transformation. But real change is often invisible in the beginning because it is busy rebuilding foundations. He looked at the paper for a long time. Then he asked himself the question that mattered more than any plan. Will you obey? Not, do you understand? He understood enough already. Not, do you want to? Wanting had failed him for too long. Not, do you feel ready? Readiness is a luxury undisciplined people worship. Will you obey? It is a hard word, an unfashionable word, but every serious transformation contains it. A man must learn to obey the part of himself that still knows the right direction, not the emotional self, not the fearful self, not the wounded self, the deeper self that values truth over comfort. That night, he did not make a speech. He did not whisper that this was his comeback. He did not declare war against the world. He did not suddenly become strong. He simply stopped kneeling in his mind. That was the beginning. Outside, the city continued as if nothing had happened. Cars moved. Lights flickered in distant windows. Other people laughed, argued, slept, forgot. The world did not pause to honor his decision, and that too was part of the lesson. Real beginnings are usually unnoticed. No applause, no witnesses, no reward, just a private turning. He lay down, but sleep did not come easily. Thoughts still moved through him like old ghosts, regret, embarrassment, memories of wasted time, faces of people he wished had seen him differently, versions of himself he had failed to become. But beneath all of it, one thing remained still. He was done waiting for rescue, not because he no longer felt pain, but because pain had finally delivered the message. No one can carry a man who refuses to stand. No one can save a man who is committed to remaining unfinished, and no one can restore the dignity of a person who keeps handing his will away. That dignity must be reclaimed internally, by action, by repetition, by standards, by silence. He did not know yet what the next weeks would demand. He did not know how often he would be tempted to collapse back into old habits. He did not know how many times his mind would offer him softness disguised as mercy, but he knew this. The old prayer had ended, the prayer that sounds like, "Please, let something outside me change this." In its place, a different sentence began to form. I will become someone who no longer needs saving, not invincible, not emotionless, not untouched by loneliness, just unwilling to remain helpless. That is where the first ascent begins, not in victory, not in confidence, not even in visible progress. It begins in the cold, private moment when a broken man realizes that waiting has become a form of surrender, and decides without drama that surrender is over. By morning, very little would appear different. The same body, the same room, the same unresolved problems waiting at the edge of day, but he would rise into them differently, because now there was a line in the sand. Before this night, he was a man asking life to rescue him. After this night, he was a man preparing to rebuild himself, quietly, painfully, without witnesses. The world celebrates loud transformations, but the most dangerous ones are silent. A man cleans his room, a man wakes earlier, a man stops begging for understanding, a man refuses one old habit, a man keeps one small promise. No one notices. Until one day, the same man who once looked broken begins to carry himself with a stillness that cannot be shaken. This is how power returns, not all at once, not as performance, as accumulated obedience to what must be done. And that night, whether anyone knew it or not, the climb had begun, not upward into comfort, upward into responsibility, not upward into praise, upward into self-respect, not upward into noise, upward into silence. The silent ascent does not begin when the man becomes strong. It begins when he stops asking to be rescued and finally accepts the harder role, to become the one who rescues himself. And in that dark room, with no audience and no guarantee, he made the only decision that ever mattered. He began.